Hello everyone. Now before Oswald dives into the pit, we see something extremely unusual. Because examining Oswald's bedroom, you can clearly see pictures of the animatronics, Spring Bonnie even on his wall. And at first you'd think nothing unusual about this, right? Well, wrong, because at this point he's never even seen the animatronics, doesn't even know they exist, never even heard of Fazbear Entertainment. We know this to be the case because the first time he dives into the pit and he comes out of it, he sees the murals on the wall of Freddy and the gang, to which he says they look like my drawings, clearly referencing he's never seen them before. This is further backed up later on in the game, where he references he doesn't even know who or what Fazbear Entertainment is. So how on earth is he even able to draw these animatronics, let alone Pittrap? And further to this, something else which is extremely insane, when you eventually go up to the attic in Oswald's house, a Freddy mask falls down. Now again, you'd think nothing of this, because you would assume that someone in his household would know of Freddy Fazbear and the gang, right? Well, wrong. His father has no memory of it, doesn't even mention Freddy Fazbear in the house. So now we have Oswald drawing characters he's never seen before, and a Freddy Fazbear mask in the attic. What does all this mean? How is this even possible? Well, don't worry about that, my friends, because myself and Freddy here got all the answers in today's video, so don't you worry. Now, immediately, I'd like to address that mask falling from the attic, because that would immediately imply that someone in the household knows about Freddy Fazbear and Fazbear Entertainment, but Oswald has no recollection or doesn't even know that they exist. So the fact that there's a Freddy mask in the attic is extremely odd, considering they have no recollection of what Fazbear Entertainment is. Now, it's worth pointing out here that Into the Pit takes place around 2020, and when you dive into the pit, you kind of go back into a memory of 1985. Sounds like something out of Back to the Future, right? So obviously when you're in 1985, Freddy Fazbear's and Fazbear Entertainment was extremely popular. Fast forward 20, 40 odd years, and they're completely abolished from this town. Why? How have they been completely scrubbed from existence? Well, I believe I've got the answers, and it's got to do with our Freddy mask as well. You see, Oswald's dad knows more than he's letting on. He says he can never move away from this town due to reasons and potentially an elderly relative, but there's other reasons to this. You see, we're obviously given this journal by Gabriel. The journal itself is written by a Fazbear Entertainment employee and mentions all the animatronics and their workings. Now, Steelwool just didn't give us this journal for the fun of it. They obviously give this journal for a reason, and that's because it's linked to someone in-game, the same as this mask. And this mask looks oddly like the mask the Bonnie Bully wears. So am I saying that Oswald's dad is the Bonnie Bully? I mean, he has the Freddy Fazbear mask, right? Well, he could easily just have a memorabilia mask from up in the attic anyway, but then it seems extremely odd that no one's mentioned Fazbear Entertainment in the entire household, but yet they would have bought one of these masks. And if Oswald's dad was the Bonnie Bully, in 1983 he would have been a teenager and have witnessed the bite of 83. This could have easily traumatized anybody who was there, and he just doesn't want to talk about it, completely blanks it out of his mind. It's extremely reasonable. This would explain why he doesn't allow the restaurant's name to be spoken in his home, and he could even be one of the texts written about in the journal we're given to by Gabriel. He's always lived in that town. Even when Fazbear's shut down, he then went to work for the mill. And this is further cemented by Oswald's drawings. I mean, he's drawn these characters on the wall. I drew this myself.
Way to go, superstar.
But Oswald's father says nothing or even mention these characters on the wall, as he never once turned around and said, "Oh, what are these characters then, son?" If he didn't know about Fazbear Entertainment, because he does, and he doesn't want to draw attention to it. He wants to scrub it completely out of his mind. Although in 1983, Freddy Bully would be a teenager, right? Into the Pit takes place in 2020, so that would mean you have to fast forward 40 odd years, meaning he would be roughly around, 55 to 60. Meaning he would have had Oswald in his late 40s, which is doable, so it does work out. I mean, Scott has recently had a run of bringing back the bullies. I mean, Bonnie Bully for one, Cassie's father. We could now have Freddy Bully, Oswald's father, but it still doesn't answer my main question, whether or not he was the Freddy Bully. I mean, it could just be a case of he has the mask of memorabilia from the time he visited Freddy's in the past. I mean, it seems unlikely because he doesn't seem to reference Freddy Fazbear's or Freddy himself at all, but it's always an option. But it doesn't solve how Oswald somehow had knowledge of animatronics he'd never seen, heard of, or even met before. And further to this, there's a drawing of Spring Bonnie or Pit Bonnie on the wall. Now, in one of the endings for Into the Pit, we see Oswald standing in front of Foxy's co, and he slowly starts to lose himself, or in other people's eyes, turn into a robot, because his eyes start turning blue, just like his dad's, when he was replaced with Springtrap / Spring Bonnie, or Pit Bonnie. Now, I'd just like to point out that I don't think Oswald was turning into a robot, but this could help explain why he starts drawing the FNAF characters. You see, he's standing right in front of Foxy's cove. Foxy is completely absent from the game. Now, is this the game trying to tell us that Oswald is becoming Foxy? Or even implying it? I mean, if he was somehow the Foxy victim, it would make sense of how he knows all the other animatronics, Spring Bonnie, and was able to draw them on his wall. And here's the interesting part. I don't believe that to be true, because we know Fritz is Foxy, right? Fritz becomes Foxy. I mean, on the gravestones in FNAF 6, specifically give us the names, and it doesn't say Oswald on it. However, we've got to remember, into the pit, we're experiencing through a memory. When we dive into the pit, it's a memory of what's happened. What if Oswald's experiencing the memory of Fritz, or is experiencing the memory through Fritz's eyes? It could then explain why he thinks he becomes Foxy. It would explain also how he knows the other animatronics and Spring Bonnie. This could be further backed up by seeing Oswald on stage like we do in one of the endings, where they're turning to him, waving at him, as if he's a friend, or for whatever reason they're friendly towards him, just like if I put this Freddy mask on, right? Because he's becoming / turning into one of them. I mean, it starts to make sense, right? But there is another theory on all of this as well. Because let's not forget, there are multiple endings to this game. We don't know which one is the canon ending. So let's say the 3-star ending is canon, he wouldn't have turned into Foxy. So how would he have got these memories? Well, you've only got to look at the novels and the movie for this. Scott likes to do lots of crossovers to answer the questions in the novels, the games, and the movie. Now, Oswald drew these pictures before he went into the pit. And the key thing here is the pit. The pit is a memory, and pitbonnie is an agony entity because of all the victims' agony. Now, would it be reasonable to say that if you spent a lot of time in the proximity of this ball pit, all the memories and agony could potentially start seeping into your thoughts? And this is exactly what could have happened to Oswald. I mean, it says in the game that he spends nearly every single day being dropped off at Jeff's pizza place, right? He's always there, meaning there'd be great chance for this agony or these souls to make their way into Oswald's consciousness. Or even the dreams if Oswald had fallen asleep. Let's look at the movie for reference. You see Mike falling asleep inside Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and the souls come and visit him. Now, could it be that the soul or souls of Golden Freddy come and visit Oswald, showing him these animatronics in his dreams, hence how he's able to draw them so vividly, as if they were real, because he's seen them in the memories from Golden Freddy when he was at Jeff's Pizza. The game tells us that Oswald is always at Jeff's. It would make sense. I mean, this is all but confirmed in the movie as well, because if you remember, Golden Freddy has been visiting Abby before she even gets to the pizza place. Could be because she's drawing her friends, and she even draws the scene of her missing brother, you know, when he's taken away in the car, because they were visiting her in the dream. That could have happened to Oswald, hence how he's able to draw it on the wall, although there is a problem with this. There's very limited evidence. All we're going on is the theory from the movies, right? And the fact that spirits / souls could visit the living in their dreams or otherwise. And further to this, if Oswald was becoming Foxy or became Foxy or witnessed the event through Fritz's eyes, it doesn't explain how he was able to draw the animatronics before he went into the pit. The theory where he was visited by Golden Freddy or the souls of the children does. It answers it before he gets in there. And it makes good use of Golden Freddy. It gives another reason for Golden Freddy to exist in this universe, how he's there and his actual purpose, the leader of the Fazbear gang. And there you have it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this down below, guys, on how you think Oswald was able to draw these pictures. And if you want more FNAF content, there's loads on the channel. I highly recommend checking it out right now. And a massive thanks to our YouTube members on screen, and a special thanks to William Plays, who's a Golded Twisted one, and Bill Carter, who is actually a Twisted animatronic. Thanks, guys. I'm Twisted, and stay safe out there, superstars. Now, this journal was clearly written by a Fazbear and written by a Fazbear technician or a the journal itself is written by a Fazbear entertainment. Why do I keep saying that? The journal itself is written by a Fazbear